Hello, welcome to Belly Burley. I'm Miss Cherry July. Welcome to the first episode of series 2 of the Me and My Body Confidence interviews. I haven't finished re-uploading all of series 1 yet. They were all filmed in lockdown, but I have uploaded Lydia's episode of series 1 from lockdown, and this is Lydia revisited 5 years on. She's now married with 2 children, and we was joking that we should catch up with her every 5 years to see how things have changed, and I actually think that's a really good idea. She did the famous tits, teeth and toes tagline on her first episode. On this second episode we'll be discussing having babies, being body pressures, being a bride, facial paralysis. It's a really good interview. I hope you enjoy it. Question 1. Since we last spoke, you have married and become a mum of 2. Did you feel any pressure to look a certain way or weigh a certain amount on your wedding day? And what do you think when you come across others experiencing that pressure?
Hi, so my name is Lydia Bradford. This is my second interview with Victoria. She's given me a few questions, so I'm going to answer them as truthfully as I can. I do have a tendency to waffle, so I do apologise in advance. So, question 1. Personally, I didn't feel any pressures about how I looked on my wedding day or my weight or anything like that. But I think that was potentially due to the fact that I had my cesarean with my first baby in May of 2022, and then I got married in December of 2022. So my priority was more my health and making sure that my incision was healed, that Jacob, my baby, was happy, he was healthy, and everything else. So it was more about that than try and lose baby weight and what have you. But I was quite lucky. I did sort of bounce back straight away with my baby weight. So I didn't really feel much of a pressure at all. If you see me looking away, it's because I've got my notes next to the camera. My advice to others is to not try and drastically change your weight just for the sake of one day, because you'll tend to find that you'll look back on the photos later on in life and you'll just look at them with sadness and regret that you don't look like that anymore if you've put the weight back on or anything. You better just sort of trying to stay sort of similar to what you are now, so that you still look like you don't look like a different person on the day, because as long as you feel beautiful on the day and you're happy, then that's all that matters. And also having a good sort of sense of your body shape and what wedding dresses look good on your shape, that makes all the difference. Like, for example, for my body shape, I know that A-line dresses and ball gowns look the best because they nip you at the waist, then they flare, so it hides any sort of mum tum or anything like that. And I knew that that was what I wanted to wear, and that is what I did wear. And I know that that suits me, because I tried a fishtail dress on and it looked awful. It showed every lump and bump and I hated it, and I knew on the day I would hate it, I would feel uncomfortable. So you need to get one that suits you. And also, the other scary thing with wedding dress shopping is that the wedding dresses come really small. So I'm naturally a 14, 16, and my wedding dress was a 20, which was frightening to think that I was wearing a size 20 dress. But it's just because they come small, so don't be scared on the day if they give you a size 20 dress. You're fine. But yeah, as long as you feel beautiful on the day, that's all that matters.
Question 2. Since becoming a mum, have you at any point found the changes to your body challenging to deal with? And how do you feel when you see other new mums feeling bad about their bodies?
Question 2. After Jacob, my first baby, was born, I absolutely loved my post-pregnancy body, because since I'd gone from sort of being heavily pregnant and feeling huge and uncomfortable and couldn't fit into anything, to overnight being able to fit into loads of my clothes and feeling small and just feeling good about myself, it was such a lovely feeling. And like my belly was squishy and funny, and my stretch marks I absolutely love because they look like a sunshine going round my belly button, which was so nice. And like I said in my previous question, whatever, I lost most of my baby weight straight away, so again, I didn't sort of feel bad or what have you. But after I had my second son, Eric, last year, so 2024, because I've had 2 cesareans, obviously they go through the same incision, and they go through 7 layers of tissue. So I have scar tissue on 7 layers twice. So I don't think my stomach will ever be flat at all, because there is just so much scar tissue now. And so that makes my belly sort of protrude a little bit and hangs and what have you. So it really did take a lot of getting used to, and truthfully it still does. There's some days where I absolutely hate my appearance, and there's some days I absolutely love it, and I'm working on trying to get healthier, to lose a bit of weight, to tone up and what have you, more so that I'm more active for my kids. But it's one of them, we shouldn't be ashamed of not liking our bodies. We're sort of conditioned to have to always like every part of us, and it's okay some days to not like what you see in the mirror, but as long as it is just some days and not all the time. But on those days when you don't like your body, you just need to remember that for new mums especially, even if you don't like how your body looks, your body is still absolutely incredible, because that same body that you don't like in the mirror, that created a child, that nurtured a child and carried them for 9 months, and then if you were breastfeeding or what have you afterwards, it was still nurturing them for months and months after. So yes, you may look in the mirror and think, God, I hate that, there's a wobbly bit, there's a saggy bit, there's cellulite, there's what have you. So what? Who cares? That little baby loves you for who you are, not for what you look like. So you need to be kind to yourself and sort of love the inside, even if you don't always like the outside.
Question 3. How do you feel about mums being pitted against each other in the natural births versus C-section births noise?
Question 3. How do I feel about mums pitted against each other in the natural versus C-section birth? It annoys me a lot. Both are incredibly difficult experiences, and the mother is in a hell of a lot of pain regardless of which one they go for. With a natural birth, obviously you're in labour, it hurts, you're pushing a whole human out of your body. It's not going to be painless, it's going to hurt. And same with cesareans. People think it's the easy option. It really isn't. Yes, you're not pushing something out of you, but you still have a needle and a tube going into your spine to stop the pain. You have cannulas in your arms, in your back of your hands, to administer drugs. Then after you've had baby, obviously, like I said in my previous answer, they cut through 7 layers of tissue. So you are in a hell of a lot of pain and you are on a lot of medication, and I've had two. But before anybody says I don't know what I'm talking about with natural births, I still went into labour naturally. My first baby, Jacob, my waters broke naturally. I went into labour naturally. I was in labour for 19 hours before I completely gave up. And by this point, I'd had pethidine shots. I was in a water bath, all sorts. And the pain was excruciating. I was in and out of consciousness for hours. And eventually I demanded a cesarean, and my epidural kept going wrong. The anaesthetist put that epidural in my back a good half a dozen times because he kept missing whatever bit he needed to put it in. So I had a bruise that big on the base of my spine for weeks. And because of that, I permanently have back pain, recurring backache. So it's definitely not an easy way out. Definitely not. Granted, with my second, Eric, they got the epidural in the first time. It was pain-free, the epidural that time. But my aftercare with that, I had a massive infection in my incision. So I had to have antibiotics. With both pregnancies, I was on blood thinners, which I had to inject into myself, which were not fun. They hurt a lot. So they are most certainly not the easy way option, but even then, C-section mothers should not think that they're better than anybody who's given birth naturally. A natural birth, like I said, it must hurt like hell. So both types of birth are just as important as each other. Neither is superior. We both go through a hell of a lot of pain, but at the end of the day, the health of the baby and the mother is all that's important. So who gives a toss how the child came into the world, as long as they're healthy and as long as both mother and baby survive.
Question 5. Do you view women's bodies any differently now you have experienced what they can do in terms of creating new life?
Question 5. I definitely view women's bodies differently now after having my boys. Women's bodies are machines. They are absolutely incredible, and it was an incredible experience to discover what my own body is capable of. Because with both my boys, I was still doing my burlesque chair dance classes up until 6 months pregnant, and with Eric I performed in a show while pregnant as well. So it definitely is incredible to see what women's bodies are capable of doing under such circumstances.
Question 6. You are in the middle of producing a burlesque show. How would you handle someone who is keen to take part but starts to lose confidence about performing or wearing a costume because of body confidence issues?
So this one does come up quite a lot in classes. I do get ladies that come to me and say that they're losing their nerve and they don't want to wear certain things or have certain things out, like say their legs or the midriff or something like that. And I try and basically I don't expect anybody to wear something I wouldn't wear myself. I never show my midriff in any show at all. So I always give them the option to cover their midriff, always. Whether it be with a baby doll or a leotard or an underbust corset or something like that, they always have the option to cover. And same with legs, we never have bare legs in any routine. If ever they look like they're bare, we've got nude tights on or nude fishnets. Legs are never bare. And if there's any sort of problem areas with anybody's bodies, I'm never overly strict with what they have to wear. And if I am overly strict, it's something that's quite forgiving anyway. It's normally a dress or a corset and bra and pants, something like that. So it's always something that I know the ladies are going to be comfortable wearing. But if there's ever anything that they're not comfortable with, they all know that they can come to me and just say, look, I really don't want to wear this. And I will never, ever force anybody to wear something that they're not comfortable with. And like I say, I will never force anybody to wear something I wouldn't be prepared to wear myself, because I know how it feels. And same with losing confidence about performing. I always say to my ladies that I am a phone call away. If they need me for anything regarding show, I'm a text message away. And I've been up till midnight before talking to my ladies and going over any concerns or anything that they have. And so far, I've never had anybody pull out of a show because they feel that they weren't being heard or listened to or what have you. I always try my best to make sure that everyone's comfortable and everyone feels good in what they're wearing, because there's nothing worse than being on stage and feeling like you look like an idiot or feeling uncomfortable in your clothes, because it shows in the performance. We don't want that. And I don't want people to feel uncomfortable in shows. It's supposed to be fun. And I always try and tell them all that they look absolutely fabulous. And I always make sure that we have a photo shoot a couple of weeks or a couple of months before, so that they can see how they look in the costumes, and then they can see how gorgeous they actually look.
Question 7. You recently had surgery on your neck that left you with temporary facial paralysis. How was that to deal with, and how was it standing in front of a class and encouraging body confidence at a time when many would have had their confidence shook?
I did have surgery on my neck, as you can see here. I still have a divot in my face that more than likely will never go, because they removed muscle as well as my saliva gland, which is actually down here. So that was the reason why I had surgery on my face, because I felt a lump, and even though it was benign, they said if it had been left, then if it had been in there for about 10 years, it could potentially turn cancerous, and it had been in there for 6. So time was ticking. So I had that removed in April, and I've only just got full like everything working again. But all this side was sort of droopy and not as strong, and couldn't flare my nostril, couldn't blow out my cheek, couldn't squeeze my eyes shut, couldn't raise my eyebrows or anything like that. And for a while at first it was quite funny, because I was like, I can't move that bit of my face. Then came the worry that, oh no, I'm going to be paralysed for the rest of my life. And at first I was quite vain, and I was thinking, oh no, my my burlesque performing days are over, because I'm not going to be able to smile properly. I'm not going to be able to do anything like that with my face. But then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, you know what, it's superficial. I can still smile. It'd just be a slightly different smile. But at least it's not going to cost me my life. Because if that had turned cancerous and turned nasty, then I could die. And I'd rather have a slightly paralysed face than completely lose my life. And a scar really doesn't bother me, because like you can see, it's not that noticeable anyway. And as for the little divot, I don't even notice it anymore. But it's just one of those things to add to the list of things that sort of go wrong with my body. Like I get really bad cold sores, which are horrible, but I know they'll heal in 2 weeks, so they're fine. I have eczema all over my body, and sometimes that can look horrific, especially on my hands, where I have scarring from eczema. But it's just one of those things. It's what makes me me. And other people's opinions of it, it's nothing to do with me. As long as I'm not bothered about it, other people shouldn't be. And that's the same advice I'd give to anybody. If it doesn't matter, if it doesn't bother you, other people shouldn't be bothered about it. Like, I can't remember who it was years ago mentioned about the moles on my face and said, oh, why don't you get them removed? Why? I don't even notice them. So why should I get them removed just to suit you? Same with my scar. People would say put bio oil or something on it to make it less noticeable, but I couldn't care less. It's just a line. It means nothing anymore. So any sort of deformity or any sort of imperfection, that's what makes you you. So stuff what anybody else thinks.
Question 8. Finally, do you worry about your sons developing healthy relationships with their bodies as much as you would have done if you'd have had daughters?
I do kind of worry. I hope that they do have a good relationship with their bodies, but at the minute it's sort of hard to answer that, because obviously they're only 3 and 1, so we've not got to that stage yet. But I can imagine that I would be more worried if I'd got daughters, because I know the pressures of being female and having to dress a certain way and having to look a certain way, and how opinionated people are about your body. So I hope that my boys have a healthy relationship with their body, and I hope that they can also sort of say the same to, say, girlfriends if they have them. And I always say that they're beautiful and what have you, and just be decent to the way they look, and never say like, oh God, you look naff in that. I hope that they're always supportive of other people's bodies as well as their own. Because if ever I think that I look rubbish in whatever I'm wearing, I try never to say it in front of them, because I don't want them to hear that. I want them to always think positive. Tits, teeth and toes. Just smile and carry on, and if I mess something up, then just get on with it. The way I look at it, if you can take your flaws and laugh at them and
then nobody else can use them against you.